Hi dear viewers, hope you are doing well. And welcome to our video today. We are gonna talk about social media in our life. Let's start.
You know, Jack, it's crazy how much time we spend on social media these days. I was just checking my screen time, and I spend almost 4 hours a day on different platforms.
Wow, that's a lot, but honestly, I'm not surprised. Social media has become such a big part of our lives. We use it for communication, news, entertainment, and even work.
Exactly. It's hard to imagine life without it. But do you think it's more beneficial or more harmful?
Good question. I think it depends on how we use it. If we use it wisely, it can be a powerful tool for learning, staying connected, and even growing a business. But if we overuse it, it can be distracting and even harmful.
That's true. I love how it helps us stay connected with friends and family, especially those who live far away. I can video call my cousin in Australia anytime I want.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest advantages. In the past, staying in touch with people was difficult and expensive. Now, with just one click, we can communicate instantly.
And not just with friends. Social media also helps us connect with people we've never met in real life. I've made so many online friends from different countries.
Same here. It's amazing how it brings people together. But at the same time, don't you think it sometimes replaces real-life interactions?
Yeah, I've noticed that. Sometimes people sit together at a cafe, but instead of talking to each other, they're all looking at their phones.
That's kind of sad. I think we need to find a balance between online and offline life.
Besides staying connected, I think social media is also a great source of information. I get most of my news from Twitter and Instagram.
Me too. But we have to be careful. Not everything we see online is true. There's a lot of fake news and misinformation.
Yeah, that's a big problem. But if we follow reliable sources, social media can be a great way to stay informed.
Exactly. And it's also a great platform for learning. There are so many educational channels on YouTube and Instagram that teach everything from cooking to coding.
Oh, I love that. I've learned a lot of new skills just by watching tutorials. It's like having a free online university.
That's one of the biggest advantages. Social media has made knowledge accessible to everyone. You don't need to go to a classroom to learn anymore.
And let's not forget how useful it is for businesses. Many small businesses grow just by using platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
Absolutely. Social media marketing is a game changer. If a business knows how to use it effectively, they can reach thousands of customers without spending much on advertising.
I have a friend who started a small handmade jewelry business, and now she has over 50,000 followers on Instagram. She sells her products worldwide.
That's amazing. That's another reason why social media is so powerful. It creates opportunities for people who wouldn't have had them otherwise.
But of course, social media isn't perfect. There are some serious downsides too.
Yeah, one of the biggest issues is addiction. People get so hooked on scrolling that they lose track of time.
I know. Sometimes I plan to check Instagram for 5 minutes, and suddenly an hour has passed.
That happens to me too. It's designed to keep us engaged. Have you noticed how the endless scrolling never stops? That's intentional.
Yeah, and notifications make it even worse. Every time my phone buzzes, I feel the need to check it immediately.
Same here. It's like we're programmed to respond instantly. That's why many people are now trying social media detoxes.
I've tried it before. I stayed off social media for a week, and honestly, I felt more relaxed and focused.
That's interesting. Maybe I should try that too. I've read that social media affects mental health, especially among teenagers.
Definitely. The pressure to look perfect, get more likes, and compare lives with others can be really unhealthy.
Yeah, social media makes it easy to compare our real lives to other people's highlight reels. It can make people feel insecure.
That's why it's important to remember that what we see online is not always real. People only show the best parts of their lives.
So, how do you think we can use social media without letting it control our lives?
I think setting boundaries is key, like limiting screen time and not checking social media first thing in the morning.
That's a good idea. I've also heard that turning off notifications can help reduce distractions.
Yes, and also taking regular breaks. Maybe having one offline day per week where we don't use social media at all.
I love that idea. Also, using social media more for learning and less for mindless scrolling can make a big difference.
Right. If we follow educational pages and positive content, we can actually benefit from it instead of just wasting time.
Exactly. It's all about how we use it. Social media isn't bad. It's how we interact with it that matters.
This was such a great conversation. I feel like I need to rethink how I use social media.
Me too. Let's make a challenge. 1 week of mindful social media use. No unnecessary scrolling. And we track our screen time.
I love that. Let's do it. And next week, we'll meet again to see how it went.
Deal. Let's see if we can actually stick to it.
Challenge accepted. See you next week.
See you soon.
So, Jack, how did your social media detox go?
Honestly, it was harder than I expected. At first, I kept reaching for my phone out of habit. But after a couple of days, I felt more focused and less stressed.
That's great. I felt the same way. I actually had more free time, and I didn't feel the pressure to check notifications all the time.
Exactly. Social media can be really addictive. Have you ever noticed how it affects your mood?
Oh, definitely. Sometimes, after scrolling for a while, I feel exhausted or even anxious. Seeing too much negative news or comparing myself to others can be overwhelming.
That's a huge issue. Studies show that excessive social media use can increase stress, anxiety, and even depression.
I believe it. I read an article that said people who spend too much time on social media are more likely to feel lonely, even though they're constantly connected.
That makes sense. Online connections can't fully replace real human interaction. That's why it's so important to have a balance.
Right. I think taking breaks from social media can improve mental health a lot. Maybe we should make it a habit, not just a one-time challenge.
Agreed. From now on, I'll set limits on my social media time. No more endless scrolling.
Speaking of negative effects, have you ever experienced or seen cyberbullying?
Unfortunately, yes, a friend of mine was targeted online because of his opinions. He received so many hateful comments that he had to delete his account.
That's awful. Cyberbullying is a serious problem. It's easier for people to say hurtful things online because they don't have to face the consequences.
Exactly. And it's not just individuals. Public figures and even businesses get attacked online. One bad review or false accusation can ruin someone's reputation.
That's why we should always think before we comment or share something online. Words have power, even on social media.
Absolutely. Another concern is privacy. Many people don't realize how much personal information they're sharing online.
Yeah, some people post everything. Where they live, where they work, even their daily routines. That's really risky.
Right. Hackers and scammers can use that information. That's why I always adjust my privacy settings and avoid sharing sensitive details.
Smart move. We should also be careful about what we click on. There are so many scams and fake accounts these days.
Definitely. Social media is a great tool, but we have to use it wisely and protect ourselves.
Let's talk about something more positive. Have you noticed how social media is changing the way people do business?
Oh, absolutely. It's a game changer. Businesses no longer need expensive advertising. A single viral post can bring them thousands of customers.
That's true. And now, influencers and content creators can make a living just by sharing videos and posts.
Right. Platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram allow people to turn their passions into careers.
Yeah, I follow a travel vlogger who gets paid to visit beautiful places around the world. Imagine getting paid just to travel.
That sounds like a dream job, but it takes a lot of effort. Consistency, creativity, and engagement are key.
Exactly. I've been thinking about starting my own content page. Maybe something educational.
That's a great idea. If you create valuable content, people will follow you. Plus, social media can help build your personal brand.
That's true. Employers even check candidates' social media before hiring. Your online presence can affect your career opportunities.
That's why I always try to keep my profiles professional. You never know who might be watching.
Where do you think social media is headed in the future?
That's an interesting question. I think it will keep evolving, with more AI and virtual reality features.
Yeah, with the rise of the metaverse, we might not just scroll through social media. We might live in it.
That's both exciting and scary. Imagine attending virtual concerts, shopping in digital malls, or even working in a virtual office.
It sounds amazing, but it also means we'll spend even more time online.
True. The key is to use technology to enhance our lives, not replace real-life experiences.
Exactly. The future of social media depends on how we use it. If we're responsible, it can be a great tool for communication, learning, and business.
Agreed. It's all about balance.
This was such a great conversation. I feel like we covered so many important points about social media.
Yeah, from its benefits to its dangers, we've talked about it all.
So, what's our next challenge? Maybe a week of using social media only for learning and work.
I love that idea. No mindless scrolling, only productive use.
Perfect. Let's see if we can stick to it.
Challenge accepted. See you next week. Same place?
Absolutely. Take care, Jack.
You too, Emma. See you soon.
Jack, I've been thinking about something. Social media is such a big part of our lives. But do you think it affects our relationships, like with friends or family?
Definitely. On one hand, it keeps us connected with people, but on the other hand, it can create distance. Sometimes, I feel like I know more about my friends' lives through Instagram than through actual conversations.
Yeah, I feel that too. It's like we share so much online that the real conversations start to feel shallow. Sometimes, I catch myself posting something about my day before even talking to the people around me.
That's interesting. So, we're sharing everything online, but we might be missing the deeper, more personal connections in real life.
Exactly. And have you noticed how some people only post the good stuff? It can make others feel like they're not doing enough with their lives.
Yes, that's the downside of perfect posts. It gives a distorted image of reality. People only share their highlights, and it can create a false sense of success or happiness.
And the pressure to keep up can affect our relationships, too. Sometimes I feel like if I don't post something exciting or fun, people might think I'm not living my life fully.
I get that. It's like there's this constant need to show off a perfect version of ourselves. But the truth is, real relationships are built on honest, face-to-face interactions, not just pictures and likes.
Right. I think we need to be more mindful of how much we share online, especially with close friends and family. Real conversations should still come first. Speaking of comparisons, I also wanted to talk about how social media can affect self-esteem. With all these filters and editing apps, do you think it creates unrealistic beauty standards?
Absolutely. Social media, especially platforms like Instagram, can make us feel like we have to look a certain way to be accepted. The number of people using filters to look flawless is insane.
And it's not just the filters. People also Photoshop their bodies, change their skin tones, and even added makeup that looks perfect. It creates an idea of beauty that's hard to reach in real life.
I think it's really damaging. Social media should be a place where we celebrate our natural selves, but sometimes it feels like it's all about fitting into a perfect mold.
Definitely. It's affecting not just adults, but teenagers too. I've seen so many young people feel insecure about their appearance because they think they need to look like influencers they see online.
It's sad because it's not real. Even those influencers often don't look like that in real life without filters and editing. It's important for people to know that social media doesn't show the full picture.
Exactly. I think there should be more awareness about how social media is shaping our perception of beauty. People need to understand that everyone is unique, and we shouldn't compare ourselves to the perfect images we see online.
Agreed. The more we embrace our natural selves, the more social media will be a place for positive influence rather than unrealistic expectations.
On a positive note, do you think social media can be used for good, like promoting social change?
100%. Social media has been used for activism and raising awareness about important issues. Movements like Black Lives Matter and climate change awareness gained huge momentum online.
Yeah, it's incredible how a hashtag or a viral video can bring attention to problems that people weren't paying attention to before. Social media has allowed us to amplify voices that might not have been heard otherwise.
Exactly. It's like a global platform where people can speak out, organize protests, and demand change. It's helped break down barriers between cultures and spread important messages.
The power of social media to influence public opinion is huge, but it also comes with responsibility. Sometimes, information gets spread without being fact-checked, and that can lead to misunderstandings or even harm.
True. That's why it's important to always verify the information before sharing it. Social media can be a force for good, but only if we use it responsibly.
Right. We can be a part of positive change, but we need to be mindful of how we use our platforms. It's about using our voices to educate, inform, and inspire, not spread hate or misinformation.
Exactly. If we use social media with good intentions, it can make the world a better place. We just need to be more conscious of how we contribute to the online conversation.
Jack, we talked a lot about the benefits and drawbacks of social media. But I think another important issue is the way social media impacts our privacy and mental health.
You're right. With all the data companies are collecting from us, sometimes I feel like we have no privacy left. I mean, every click, every like, and even every comment is tracked.
I know, and it's not just companies. Our personal data can be used for targeted ads, and even worse, hackers can gain access to our information if we're not careful.
Exactly. That's why privacy settings are so important. People should be aware of what they're sharing and who has access to their data.
And it's not just our personal information. The way social media affects our mental health is also concerning. Like we mentioned before, constant comparison and pressure to be perfect can make us anxious or depressed.
It's true. That's why it's important to take breaks and set boundaries with social media. We need to protect our mental health just as much as we protect our privacy.
Maybe more people should start talking about this, how social media affects mental well-being, and how we can use it responsibly without harming ourselves.
I agree. The conversation needs to shift from how much time we spend online to how we can protect ourselves from its negative effects.
So, after all this, do you feel like social media is more of a blessing or a curse?
I think it's both, depending on how we use it. It's a tool, and we can either use it for good or let it control us. The key is balance.
I agree. Social media is here to stay, but we have to make sure it enhances our lives, not takes over them. It's all about using it mindfully and with purpose.
Exactly. So, how about we set some goals for ourselves? Like, continue the challenge of using social media more responsibly and helping others do the same?
That's a great idea. We can encourage people to be more mindful about their online habits and focus on positive content. Maybe we can even share our journey on social media to help others understand the importance of balance.
I love that. Let's make this a movement.
Yes, let's spread the word and encourage others to join us.
So, until next time, let's stay positive and mindful, both online and offline.
Absolutely. Take care, Jack. And I'll see you next week.
You too, Emma. See you soon.
Please subscribe our channel for more videos.